The moment your eyes open in the morning, you are at war, not with the world, not with your schedule, but with something far more dangerous, comfort. That sweet voice that says, just a few more minutes. Start tomorrow. Play it safe. And if you're not ready, if you don't rise with intention, that voice wins and your dream dies a little more before breakfast. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit. Your morning isn't a time slot. It's a message you send to the universe that says, I'm serious. Or a message that says, I'm still sleeping through my potential. The successful, the relentless, the unstoppable, the legendary, they don't start their day like everyone else. They build it. They don't wake up into chaos. They create clarity because they know one thing the average forgets. Mornings are sacred, and the way you rise will determine how far you go. Habit 1, they master the first thought. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their phone, injecting distraction, comparison, and noise straight into their bloodstream. But not the successful. The successful protect the first thought of the day like it's oxygen, because it is. Your first thought is the rudder of your mind. It decides if you drift or drive, if you spiral or soar. So they wake up and take command, not by accident, but by design. Before the world invades their consciousness, they set the tone with gratitude, with purpose, with fire. Not, I have to, but I get to. Not another day, but another opportunity. Not, let's see what happens, but let's make it happen. And from that one shift, they don't walk into the day, they launch. Habit 2, they dominate the physical. Before emails, before meetings, before decisions, they move. Because the body is not just a vessel, it's a trigger. Motion is the fastest way to summon motivation, to move from sleep to certainty, to transition from dreams to domination. This isn't about having a six-pack. This is about discipline. This is about sweat as a spiritual act. This is about looking the morning in the face and saying, I choose power today. When you push your body, you push your limits. You remind yourself that resistance is not your enemy. It's your training partner. You start your day in victory, and that victory compounds because a body in motion leads a life in momentum. Habit 3, they spend time in silence before they step into noise. The world is loud. Your phone is loud. The news, the timelines, the expectations, all of it screams for your attention. But the successful, they start with stillness because clarity doesn't shout. It whispers. And if you don't make space for it, you'll miss it. They sit with themselves not to escape, but to listen, to recalibrate, to remember who they are. Prayer, meditation, reflection, breath. Not because it's trendy, but because their inner world must be stronger than the outer one. If you don't control the first voice you hear, the world will decide what you believe. But when you set the frequency, the rest of the day has no choice but to rise to it. Habit 4, they review their vision daily. Successful people don't write their goals once. They read them every morning like scripture. They don't drift through the day hoping to find focus. They anchor their soul in purpose. While the average scrolls aimlessly, they stare into their future. They remind themselves what they're building. They burn the image into their nervous system until it's more real than the room they're standing in. That vision becomes command, and from it comes decisions, direction, and drive. You want to stay on fire? Then stop trying to remember your goals. Reignite them every single morning. Habit 5, they take immediate ownership through action. The successful don't wait to feel ready. They don't ease into the day like it's a warm bath. They attack it. They do something hard first. They do something meaningful now because they understand the longer you wait, the weaker you become. While the world is still yawning, they're already creating. They're already writing. They're already building the momentum that average people spend all day chasing. And it's not because they're superhuman. It's because they don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, is it aligned with who I said I would become? They don't negotiate with laziness. They eliminate it because every excuse is an enemy of their empire. They know discipline before the world wakes up becomes domination after the world starts moving. And so they move, not with speed, but with certainty, not with hustle, but with honor, not with pressure, but with purpose. Because when you move in purpose, even the smallest act becomes sacred. The workout becomes a war cry. The cold shower becomes a declaration. The journal becomes a blueprint. The schedule becomes proof that you are no longer living by default. Now listen closely, because this is the moment you decide what kind of life you're going to build from this day forward. You don't need more time. You don't need better conditions. You don't need the perfect morning routine. You need to become the person who wakes up with fire in their lungs and refuses to waste it. You need to become the kind of soul who gets out of bed with the same intensity most people only find when they're desperate. Because you're not desperate. You're devoted. Devoted to your future. Devoted to your purpose. Devoted to rising while others sleep. To pushing while others pause. To becoming while others wish. The morning is your proving ground. The testing ground. The launching pad. And the moment you stop waking up into chaos and start waking up with command, you stop living reactively and start leading a life that cannot be ignored. You want success? Then win the first battle of the day, and the rest will obey. Let the world sleep. Let the weak wait. But you rise. You build. You own the morning. And in doing so, you own your life. The most powerful weapon you will ever possess is not your intelligence, not your talent, not even your drive. It is your mindset. And not the kind of mindset people post about in shallow quotes and coffee mug slogans. I'm talking about the mindset forged in fire. The mindset born from being broken and choosing to rise anyway. The mindset that doesn't flinch when the world shakes. This is the solid mindset, and it doesn't arrive. It is built deliberately, brutally, relentlessly, because life doesn't care about your potential. Life pays attention to your preparation. And if your mind is not built like steel, then your goals will collapse like glass. The storms will come. They always do. The question is not if. The question is, will your mind be ready? Will it stand? Will it push back? Will it command the chaos instead of being swallowed by it? A solid mindset is not born from wishing. It is born from work, inner work, soul work. It's not about thinking positively, it's about thinking powerfully. And it starts with the first element, ownership. You must own everything. Your choices, your thoughts, your reactions, your results. Blame is the language of the weak. Excuses are the chains of the average. But ownership is liberation. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start pointing inward, your life begins to transform. Because when you own it all, you can change it all. Responsibility is not a burden. It's the gate to your power. You either own your mind or someone else will. From that root, the second element grows. Standards. Your mindset can only rise to the level of your standards. What you tolerate, you endorse. What you ignore, you become. Raise your standards not just for your results, but for your behavior. What time you wake up, how you speak to yourself, what energy you allow around you. Discipline is not just about the gym or the schedule, it's about the identity you protect. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. So set them high, enforce them fiercely. Make your life a temple, not a tent. Then build the third element. Focus. Laser. Locked in. Undistracted focus. We are living in the age of attention warfare. And every moment your focus is scattered, your power is diluted. A solid mindset protects its focus like a lion guards its territory. No wasted scrolls, no toxic input, no empty conversations. It doesn't grow you, feed you, or serve your vision. It doesn't belong. You only get so much mental bandwidth. Spend it like gold. Master your focus, and you master the battlefield. Next, chisel in the fourth element. Emotional control. A weak mind reacts. A strong mind responds. You cannot lead your life if you cannot lead your emotions. Anger, fear, jealousy, comparison. These are thieves. They steal your clarity, your peace, your momentum. But they only have power if you let them live in you unchallenged. Learn to sit in your feelings without becoming them. Learn to breathe when the fire comes. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't fold. It means your emotions serve you, not enslave you. The fifth element is perhaps the most dangerous to ignore. Self-talk. What you whisper to yourself in private becomes your public fate. The most toxic voice is not out there. It's the one inside you, unchecked. You don't need motivation if your internal dialogue is disciplined. Speak to yourself like someone you are responsible for building. Encourage, command, lead. Your self-talk should be like a coach, not a critic. Your words are spells. Make sure you're not cursing your future with small talk. Now we arrive at the sixth element, the iron shield, resilience. You can have all the goals, all the affirmations, all the morning routines, but if you can't bounce back, you won't last. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about rising faster every time you do. It's about turning every setback into a sharpening stone. It's about knowing that pain is not your enemy, it is your trainer. The resilient mind doesn't break. It bends. It adapts. It adjusts. It advances. Then, deep in the foundation, there's the seventh element, identity. Who do you believe you are? Because you will never act consistently in a way that contradicts your identity. If you see yourself as average, you'll sabotage success. If you see yourself as a warrior, you'll fight differently. You must install the identity you need to fulfill your future. Don't wait until you achieve it, become it. Walk like it, talk like it, think like it. Your identity is the thermostat of your life. Set it high and never lower it to match the room. The eighth element, like lightning in your bloodstream, is belief. Belief is not hope. Belief is certainty in advance. It's the internal conviction that your vision must come to pass. And when belief lives in your bones, you walk differently. You take bigger swings. You bet on yourself when no one else will. You don't need approval. You already gave it to yourself. That's the kind of belief that moves mountains. Finally, the ninth, the unshakable pillar beneath it all, long-term vision. If your mindset is not anchored in a future worth fighting for, you'll give up. Short-term minds get crushed by pressure. Long-term vision creates perspective. When you know where you're going, the setbacks become scenes, not the story. The losses become lessons. And the pain becomes the price you're willing to pay. Because your future is not a fantasy. It's a contract written in vision, signed with belief, and delivered by discipline. A solid mindset is not a gift. It is a forge. And you are the fire. Then let the fire rise higher, because we are not here to build ordinary minds. We are here to forge unshakable, immovable, legendary minds that don't bend when the pressure mounts, they sharpen. Let's take everything we've laid down, And now press it deeper into the foundation. Because a solid mindset isn't built once. It is reinforced every single day. Every thought you allow, every habit you tolerate, every conversation you entertain, it's either cementing your greatness or cracking your foundation. This is where most people lose in the everyday. Not in the big events, not in the once-a-year breakthroughs, but in the tiny choices that accumulate like bricks until you either stand on a fortress or get buried under your own mediocrity. So ask yourself daily, is this thought building me? Is this decision aligning me with who I said I want to become? Is this moment honoring the future I say I crave? A solid mindset lives by alignment. No more performing one way and thinking another. No more posting like a king but living like a prisoner. It's time to unify your life from the inside out. And make no mistake, that means sacrifice. You must sacrifice your lower self. The version of you that settles, scrolls, snoozes, blames, waits. That version has to die daily so the real you can rise daily. Because your potential is not sleeping, it's starving. Starving for discipline. Starving for belief. Starving for someone brave enough to stop waiting for permission and start living with conviction. Your mindset must be your greatest ally, not your biggest saboteur. It must be a garden, not a garbage dump. So clean it out. Pull the weeds of self-doubt. Burn the dead wood of regret. Plant seeds of power, of wisdom, of vision, and water them with daily commitment. You don't get a solid mindset by reading about it. You get it by living it. By walking into situations that should break you and refusing to shatter. By standing up after failure and saying, this is where I'm most dangerous. Right here. Right now. Because a solid mindset doesn't avoid the fire. It becomes fireproof. It doesn't shrink when misunderstood. It expands. It doesn't lower its frequency to fit in. It radiates at full power until the room adjusts. And here's the truth they won't tell you. You will outgrow people. You will intimidate the small-minded. You will be questioned, doubted, challenged. Good. That's how you know the transformation is working. When your energy gets too big for small circles, keep expanding. When your vision offends, those who refuse to change, keep building. When your standards isolate, you keep rising. Because a solid mindset is not looking for comfort, it is looking for alignment. Not popularity, but purpose. You are not here to be liked. You are here to lead. And that starts with leading yourself. Lead your thoughts. Lead your actions. Lead your mornings. Lead your mood. Lead your mindset like it's the most precious asset you own, because it is. You want wealth? Master your mindset. You want peace? Master your mindset. You want influence, impact, freedom, power, fulfillment? Master your mindset. Every dream you have is locked behind the gate of your own thinking. And the only way to break through is to become the kind of person who can't be shaken. So decide right now, not tomorrow, not next week, to become unbreakable, to become undeniable, to become the rare breed who walks into any room and never flinches, because their mindset doesn't move. That is your foundation, and it will carry you to heights no one can even pronounce. Understand this. A solid mindset isn't just protection, it's propulsion. It doesn't just defend you from chaos, it drives you through it. It's the invisible engine behind every breakthrough, every leap, every quiet miracle you manifest. It's not a shield you hold. It's the force you become. And to truly lock it in, you must live by what I call the unbreakable code. Not rules written on paper, but principles etched into the soul. Principles that don't change when life gets hard. Principles that define you so the world can never confuse you. The first, you are not your circumstances. Your bank account doesn't define you. Your job title doesn't validate you. Your past does not predict you. You are not your failures. You are not your trauma. You are not your mistakes. You are the architect of what comes next. You are the authority on your identity, and no one gets to write your future but you. The second, hard is not a reason to stop. It's the reason to start. Hard means you're doing something worthy. Hard means you're growing. Hard means you're on the right road. A solid mindset is addicted to challenge. It wakes up craving resistance because it knows that resistance builds range, and range is power. The more you can handle, the more you can hold, and the more you can hold, the further you rise. The third, delay is not denial. A solid mindset doesn't panic when things take longer. It doesn't fold when the results aren't instant. It trusts the compound effect. It trusts the hidden work. It trusts that the universe rewards the prepared, not the impatient. You don't plant in spring and harvest in summer without tending to the soil daily. You don't win the war in one battle. You win by showing up again and again and again until there's no resistance left. The fourth, the world reflects what you believe you're worth. So, raise your value not in ego, but in identity. Walk like you matter. Speak like you have something eternal inside you. Show up like your time is sacred. People treat you according to the energy you accept. Life rewards you based on the level of belief you broadcast. So stop discounting your spirit. Stop offering clearance rack versions of your destiny. You are not a product of the world. You are a producer of new worlds. The fifth, everything is training. The delay, training. The pain, training. The betrayal, the rejection, the detour, the silence, all of it is training. Training you to be the person who can carry the life you say you want. That means you don't resent the storm. You respect it because you know it's here to stretch you, shape you, sharpen you. This is how a solid mindset thinks. If it's hard, I get better. If it's slow, I get stronger. If it breaks me, I rebuild wiser. There is nothing the world can throw at you that you cannot convert into fuel. And the sixth, the crown jewel. You were built for this, not just born. Built, forged, chosen, called, prepared. Nothing about you is an accident. Not the hunger, not the vision, not the nights you can't sleep because something inside you knows you were made for more. That's not delusion, that's destiny calling. You are built to lead, built to create, built to become a walking standard of what is possible. But to fulfill that call, you must master the battlefield between your ears. Because if you lose there, you lose everywhere. But if you win there, if you build the mind that cannot be shaken, cannot be broken, cannot be turned against itself, then there is nothing you cannot build, nothing you cannot conquer, nothing you cannot become. This is your mind, your most powerful asset, your most sacred responsibility, your throne, your engine, your sanctuary. Build it strong, build it solid, and then watch the world bend to match it. Because everything you've heard up to now has not been for your inspiration. It has been for your awakening. This isn't just motivation, this is resurrection. The resurrection of your fire. The fire that life tried to dim. The fire that disappointment tried to drown. The fire that fear tried to smother. But here's the truth they never taught you. You were never meant to be tame. You were never meant to be average. You were never meant to just cope with life. You were meant to command it. And a solid mindset is the sword you wield in that battle. So let the world doubt you. Let the critics watch. Let the voices whisper, who do you think you are? And smile. Smile because you know exactly who you are. You are the one who refused to shrink. The one who rose from the ashes with steel in your soul. The one who looked weakness in the eye and said, not today. You are not afraid of hard. You welcome it because you know pressure creates diamonds and you are born to shine. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more clarity. It needs more leadership. It needs more you, the real you, not the filtered version. So stop dimming your light to protect other people's comfort. Stop hiding your gifts under the mask of humility. Stop playing it safe and calling it wisdom. Step out. Stand tall. Speak with fire. Move with purpose. Let them feel your energy before you say a word. Let your mindset be so solid, so unshakable, so alive, that just being around you reminds people of their own greatness. This is not a performance. This is your becoming, and the world will try to distract you. It will try to derail you. It will try to break you. And that's exactly how you'll know that you're on the right path. Because the more powerful you become, the more resistance you attract. But a solid mindset doesn't flinch. It feeds on it. You spend enough time doubting, enough time waiting, enough time second-guessing your gift. Now is the season of execution. Now is the era of elevation. Now is the time for everything to change. Because once your mind is locked in, once your thoughts are aligned, once your fire is lit and your eyes are clear and your soul is unapologetically awake, there is no force on earth that can contain you. Not fear, not failure, not fatigue, nothing. So go. Go build the thing they said was impossible. Go become the person you were always destined to be. Go create a life that doesn't just impress people, but a life that awakens them. You are no longer hoping to win. You are expecting to, because you've built the one thing that no one can take from you, a mind that's stronger than circumstance, sharper than fear, and steadier than any storm. You've built the solid mindset, and now the world is yours. You weren't born to struggle. You weren't born to settle. You weren't put on this earth to wake up tired, live on autopilot, and die with your potential still sealed inside you. You were born to prosper, to thrive, to rise above circumstance and build a life so aligned with purpose that even the universe leans in to watch. But here's the truth. They didn't teach you in school. Prosperity is not handed out. Success is not inherited. Freedom is not gifted. They are unlocked. And the lock is inside you, not in the economy, not in your background, not in your DNA. The vault that holds your next level doesn't require a key from the outside. It requires a code. 10 eternal principles that, when activated, break open every limitation that's ever stood between you and the life you were designed to live. The first key is this: mindset is the gateway. Before a dollar flows to your account, before opportunity knocks, before your name is known, your mindset must be rebuilt. Because if you still think like the old you, you'll sabotage the new season. You'll reject the blessing. You'll overlook the open door. You'll undercharge, underperform, underestimate, and blame everything except the lens in your own mind. So reframe it. You are not broke. You are becoming resourceful. You are not behind. You are building depth. You are not stuck. You are in preparation. The mind must shift before the money shows up. You don't think wealthy after you get rich. You think wealthy so you can become rich. Key 2, belief is a force multiplier. You don't get what you want. You don't even get what you work for. You get what you believe is possible for someone like you. And belief isn't a mood. It's a weapon. It's the invisible blueprint that draws abundance to your door. Because the world doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty. And if you believe, truly believe, that your vision is divine, that your work has weight, that your purpose is non-negotiable, then doors open, people appear, resources align. But you must go first. You must believe before the evidence. You must act before the applause. You must move like the outcome is already done because in another dimension it is. Key 3, clarity unlocks acceleration. Most people are not moving slow because they're lazy. They're moving slow because they're confused. They say they want success, but they haven't defined it. They say they want wealth, but they haven't decided what they'll trade for it. They say they want purpose, but they haven't sat still long enough to listen. You cannot hit a target you haven't named. You cannot build a life that's based on vibes and vague hopes. You need clarity, sharp, specific, soul-deep clarity. What do you want? Why does it matter? And what pain are you willing to endure to see it through? Until you answer that you're wandering. But once you do, you start compounding. Every day begins to stack. Every action finds its lane. Every breath begins to serve the vision. Clarity doesn't make things easy. It makes them inevitable. Key 4, vision must be lived, not just looked at. It's not enough to have a dream board. It's not enough to write your goals and then close the book. Your vision must live inside you. It must breathe through your choices. It must burn in your bones. Because a vision that isn't vivid becomes vapor. And vapor will never move you through a storm. So build your vision into your identity. Speak it, walk it, act like it's already real. Because when your life begins to mirror your future instead of your past, you don't just attract success, you embody it. Key 5, purpose is your eternal fuel. Money will run out. Motivation will fade. Momentum will slow. But purpose? Purpose is perpetual fire. When you tie your work to something bigger than yourself, you unlock a level of strength, focus, and resilience that shallow ambition can never sustain. Purpose doesn't ask if you feel like it. It commands you. It gets you out of bed when you're broken. It keeps you in the fight when it's hard. It makes you patient in the process and powerful in the storm. You don't need more motivation. You need to remember your purpose. Why did you start? Who are you doing it for? What's the cost of you staying the same? Those answers are your power, and they never run dry. Key 6, discipline is the bridge between intention and identity. You can dream it. You can write it. You can speak it into the mirror until your voice cracks. But if you don't execute it, it dies in your mouth. Discipline is what separates the inspired from the impactful, the dreamers from the doers, the wishers from the warriors. Because there's only one way to prove you're serious about your future. You show up every day, not just when it's sunny, not just when you're in the mood, not just when it's Instagrammable, but when no one sees, when it's boring, when it's heavy, when it's war. Discipline is love in action. It says, I care about my future self enough to sacrifice for them now. It says, this work is sacred and I treat it that way. You want to know how far someone will go? Don't look at their goals. Look at their routines. The ones who win don't have more time. They just waste less of it. Key 7, action beats everything. Not strategy, not talent, not perfection. Action, bold, fast, messy, massive action. While others plan, you move. While others doubt, you build. While others wait, you win. Because success doesn't reward the best ideas. It rewards the ones who ship, the ones who launch, the ones who risk failure because they understand the true failure is standing still. Action is a declaration. It says to the world, I'm not afraid of looking foolish. I'm afraid of waking up in 5 years and realizing I still haven't moved. You want to unlock prosperity? Then move like your life depends on it, because it does. Key 8, gratitude amplifies everything. Gratitude isn't soft. It's not just journaling and sunsets and smiling at strangers. Gratitude is power. It shifts your frequency from lack to abundance, from victim to victor, from stress to strategy. Because when you're truly grateful, not for everything being perfect, but for the chance to become better, you unlock peace and productivity. You stop needing more to feel worthy. And ironically, that's when more comes. Gratitude expands capacity. Gratitude multiplies momentum. Gratitude silences the noise and tunes you to the signal of enoughness. And when you live from enough, you create from overflow. And overflow builds empires. Key 9. Adaptability is wealth insurance. Things will change. Markets shift. Plans break. People walk away. But the ones who win are not the ones who predicted everything. They're the ones who adjusted to anything. You must become fluid. Unshakable in purpose, but flexible in method. Married to the mission, but unattached to the map. Adaptability is emotional intelligence in motion. It says, I don't panic, I pivot. It says, this didn't go how I planned, good, now I grow. Because when life tests you, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to promote you. And only the adaptable get promoted. Key 10. Resilience is the crown of the prosperous. This is the final key, the one that makes all the others stick. The ability to take a hit and rise higher, to be told no and knock again, to fail publicly and walk forward like nothing happened because your mission is too sacred to quit. Resilience is when your spirit outlasts the storm, when your faith outweighs the fear, when your commitment is stronger than your circumstances. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be fearless, but you do have to be relentless, because the path to success is not paved with comfort. It's carved in the rock by the hands of those who refuse to stop, the ones who bled, the ones who broke, the ones who believed anyway. And that can be you. Then open your heart wide, raw, ready, because this is the moment it all comes together. Not just the words, not just the ideas. You, standing at the edge of the life you've always imagined. And the only thing between you and that life is the version of you that's still afraid to unlock the door. But the keys are in your hand now. Not metaphorically, literally. 10 eternal truths burned into your bone. Truths that don't just inspire, they ignite. And now is the time to use them. Because the clock isn't waiting. The dream isn't holding its breath. And the future is watching. It's waiting to see if you will rise. Will you let another day pass in hesitation? Will you scroll past your calling one more time? Will you drown in comfort, one distraction at a time? Or will you decide that today is sacred? Decide that effort is holy. Decide that every breath from this moment forward will be spent building the life that once only lived in your imagination. You want prosperity? Then become prosperous. Prosperous in discipline. Prosperous in self-respect. Prosperous in the way you carry yourself when nobody's clapping. You want success? Then become unshakable. So rooted in purpose that storms just sharpen your edge. So aligned in vision that failure becomes fertilizer. So built in belief that nothing and no one can take your momentum. Because this is your time. This is your permission slip to rise. You don't need another podcast. You don't need another quote. You need to move, execute, build, speak, lead, break, heal, rise. You are the key. You've always been. Now unlock the life you were born to build. And don't just live it. Leave proof that you were here.